It's a boogie night. DeMarcus Cousins made his debut for the Golden State Warriors, and it was one to remember. Well, Kyrie has the handles. 3D, he was in his bag of tricks against Memphis. Kyrie missed the 40-piece, but D-Nice got his for the Brooklyn Nets. Chris Miles here with my front court. Welcome to Game Time. Carlos Boozer, Dennis Scott. Give me some love, fellas.
Yes, sir.
Well, we kind of feel like the Golden State Warriors out there.
Yes,
you bring the power, you're the shooter, and oh man, DeMarcus Cousins, four-time All-Star, missed almost exactly 1 year, and this was his feeling before the game. He tweeted this out.
Get it, cuz. Yeah, slide with it. Yeah, I'm back. Rehab. Ooh, pop with it. Oh, don't hurt yourself.
Yes.
Oh, cuz, don't hurt yourself.
And then he stayed Coogee down to the socks.
Okay.
Quinn Cook, DMV's own.
Yes, sir.
See them together before the game, and then once it started, Kevin Durant, also a DMV native, fun and boogie.
Look good to me, boo.
Oh, he looked good. Got above the rim, finished it strong, came down confident.
First 2 points for Golden State, and they were feeling good, feeling great. And Boogie, that's what he can do.
Oh.
Offensive rebound. Look, that's fine,
That's
right?
fine. Aggressive spirit. I love it.
So he has to sit. Foul's an issue for him in this one, but we have the splash cousin. Literally.
Yeah, literally. Leave it.
Boogie, the key to this, though, Boozer, defense. Taking a charge.
That's a new Boogie right there.
And then Boogie getting his hand in there. Draymond Green on the other end.
Nice contest right there. You get out in the fast break.
Golden State ahead by 9, and Boogie running the floor, getting fed.
I like it, man. I like what I see so far.
Steph Curry, yawn. We're used to this, right?
That's what he does. Catch and shoot.
You hear the term, oh, make it look so easy, effortless. It really does look like that. 28 points for Steph.
Oh, good move.
That, you can see the speed and the quickness. Sometimes you can't with the angles. That one, it is clear. The good, the bad, the Boogie.
See that? Klay Thompson, nice little curl around Boogie. Bojan travels. Oh, wait a minute. He has range, big fella. You got to
Going
rotate
back
to
to
it.
back. But then Boogie forces the shot, misses, and then guess what that is?
Cheap foul.
It's his 6th foul. He's out in just 14 minutes. But it's all smiles and hugs because the Golden State Warriors took a 1-point lead at the half and then ended up cruising 112-94. And here's DeMarcus Cousins following his debut with Golden State.
I felt like a kid on Christmas. It's been a long journey. I've said it plenty of times. I don't want to keep, going over the same story, but this was probably one of the best days of my life, just being out there on the floor again, playing the game that I love. My teammates were great. They supported me through this entire process. The organization that supported me through this entire process. They made it easy and smooth for me as much as they could. They understood the struggles that I went through on the daily. And like I said, they just made it as smooth and as easy as possible. So, I thank them. And like I said, it's one of the best days of my life.
DeMarcus, can you take us through what your emotions were like after that dunk and then seeing how the bench reacted?
I'm just glad to know I can still dunk. But nah, it felt good. I never in a million years would have thought that would have been my first basket, playing ball again. But, I liked how it happened, and I wouldn't have changed it. I like that.
See Boogie's entire debut with the Golden State Warriors at 4 o'clock. The replays, the game of the day right here on NBA TV. Golden State Warriors versus the LA Clippers. And Golden State have themselves a stretch 5, 3 for 4 from downtown Boogie, but the full skill set on display. The passing, the defense, the moving. It was all displayed in this first game back.
It really was. We always go to the stat sheet and we look at the column with assists. Still 31 assists as a team, and Boogie has a couple of those. So it lets you know right away he understands the ball has to be shared. This is what makes his team so good and so explosive, Boogie.
Yeah, they move the ball so well. Now they got a center that can do everything else. He can pass, dribble, shoot, go inside, go outside. Very dangerous team moving forward.
Certainly, and with Boogie, we see it here. First points of the night for Golden State, he sets the screen and is moving.
Yeah, nice half-court set there, Chris. Gets to the rim, like he said. He's happy he still can dunk. You look at the bench. Now, the second play, this is normally Draymond Green, what we call the mid-post. He's unselfish, and he's known Steph Curry or Clay's going to cut to the basket. The spicy one gets the easy one. So this one right here, we're all impressed. You can test the shot without fouling. Now you get out and run, you kind of bump into Avery Bradley a little bit. You keep running, nice bounce pass by KD, and you finish the play. I like what I see so far, Chris.
I had to call Bron, and tell him, I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to be at, my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people. And Bron was one of those guys that came to Cleveland and tried to really show us what it's like to win a championship, and it was hard for him.
Kyrie Irving on Wednesday night, trying to give folks a perspective on where he is now versus his time in Cleveland when he was the young star playing alongside LeBron James, and trying to give context to the comments he made during the 3-game losing streak when he was sort of complaining about not getting the ball and about the young guys he was playing alongside. I'm going directly to you with this because you know Kyrie very well, obviously, from your Cavaliers days. What did you think when you heard this the first time?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't hear any negative in it. And I was somewhat surprised that people went as negative with it as they did, in terms of he's trying to take a veiled shot at the young guys again, and that he's trying to be more passive-aggressive. I didn't see any of that, and I don't believe that relative to Kyrie. I think he was being very transparent. Like, look, I realize that I had an opportunity there that I didn't embrace and appreciate. What I think is different, though, and I think is complicated for Boston, LeBron was a multi-time MVP and a multi-time champion when he showed up, and he was clearly our leader, and he was 8 years older, 7 years older than Kyrie. In this situation, Kyrie and those other guys are very much more contemporaries. Mm-hmm. Kyrie is not a multi-time MVP, and they got one game away from the finals without him. So for him to come back, for Gordon to come back and introduce that much ball dominance, it was naturally going to take these young kids who have never played any other role than the role they just got done playing for that team. It's going to take them some time to find themselves. In Kyrie's case, he was sold. It's his team when he re-signed with us. And he recruited an entire team of free agents that all wanted to come. And then overnight, it was LeBron's team when LeBron decided to come back. Kyrie literally had a team taken away from him. Those young kids were never at that level yet. And so I think it's an interesting thing to see how Kyrie has now sort of become LeBron in this circumstance, and he thinks of himself in a weird way as the old head, when in reality, he's still just a kid and he's just figuring it out, and people need to just let him figure it out because his heart's in the right place.
Yeah. Oh, man, you said the word kid, though. Isn't that's what set him off when he was playing with LeBron. He bristled at the idea of being condescended, it seemed like. At least
yeah, but I'm really old.
Exactly. But I think the authenticity with, in his words ring true for a lot of people. The tough part is the one place where they might not is in that Boston locker room with some of those younger guys, because they are looking at it through a similar prism that Kyrie had when he was in Cleveland when LeBron came back. I don't know if anybody deals with millennials or young people. Try convincing them that their reality is not everybody's reality. Good luck. And these guys played so well last year when Kyrie and Gordon Hayward were not in the mix. They have no reason to come back and believe that's not possible again for them. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Rozier, they come back into this season with a confidence that you only accrue by doing what they did last year when these guys were out. So if you're Kyrie, you have to tread very carefully on the emotions and the confidence of these young guys, because they've got something to hold on to that you didn't have when LeBron came back to Cleveland. There had been no playoff success for Kyrie. All he was operating on was a vision of what he could do, kind of a blueprint of what he thought he could be as a player and what that team could be in the future. These guys have something in the pocket already. You got to be conscious of that and acknowledge that, to me, if you're Kyrie, when you're dealing with these young guys.
Brad Stevens was asked about this today, and he seemed to appreciate Kyrie's reflectiveness and his, the word he used was accountability as well. It was really interesting. The comments came right after Kyrie closed the game for them and sort of reasserted himself as one of the great closers in the league. Reminded his teammates perhaps as well why he wants the ball at the end of games. I wonder, though, is this a thing that could fester? Is this a conversation that needs to be had now?
I don't think so. And the reason is holding yourself accountable in the way he did gives he and Brad the ability to make it go away very quickly. Look, here's what I meant. Here's what I said. It's over.
Right.
And the way it goes away even quicker is if you stop talking about who the leader is and just go play basketball. It's very difficult. You mentioned the fact that those young guys being millennials, right? I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it has to do with you're 19 and 20 and the only role you've ever known how to play is being the guy who helps carry you to the conference finals. And then you're told, yeah, that was good, but we need you to sacrifice now. That's a whole lot easier for a 28-year-old who's worn different hats in his career than it is for those young guys. So this was naturally going to take time, and this was naturally going to be Brad's biggest challenge. Brad's never entered a year with this kind of expectations as a coach. He's never entered a year with this many mouths to feed. So it takes time for them to find their stride, and that's to be expected.
It's a really interesting dynamic, and great players often fall into this trap of talking about their guys and their team because they're asked about it all the time. But there's always something that's a little off about that to me, declaring it yourself. The great players don't necessarily need to announce that.
Kyrie's actions will speak louder than any of his words.
Absolutely.
If he just continues to do what he does best, and that's play his guts out and play for the greater good. It's not like I've never felt like Kyrie was out there playing for the spectacle of Kyrie. Even if his game suggests that's what he's doing because it's so flashy, I never got the feeling that he was that kind of guy. Certainly not when LeBron came back. He slid into his role, even if he did it begrudgingly. He slid into the right role on those teams because he understood what was at stake.
Right.
He's got to allow some of his younger guys to evolve in their roles doing the exact same thing.
So you literally made me laugh when you said the spectacle of Kyrie because this is a guy who can go wrong foot, left-handed floater in the paint over a big man to win a game. That's a spectacle in and of itself.
Yeah.
Where I think you've seen him showing real leadership, though, and he gets very little credit for this. He has picked up his end of the deal on the defensive side of the ball by leaps and bounds over where he was before. He's much better at the point of attack in a pick and roll than he's ever been. He's buying into everything that they are asking everyone else to do. He's just learning how to vocalize it.
Boston's lead is now 14 over the Memphis Grizzlies on their home floor tonight. They lead that game 44-30 and 5-2 so far for Kyrie.